Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. And this is a driving vlog today talking about the book club book of August, which is American Predator, and I think it's by Maureen McCullough or Maureen somebody. And not to be confused with my favorite true crime book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search About the Golden State Killer by Michelle McNamara, which we read last year. So if you don't know, what you don't know is a lot. I'm about to go into the dark, first of all, because the lighting is going to be so bad on here, but I know you probably don't care. You're probably like, we don't watch the videos for that anyway, just want to hear what you have to say. So, I'm driving the other direction and the light is going to be behind me, so it's going to be really bad lighting. I have a book club. It's called Peter's Book Club, but we're going to be changing the name soon. And the reason for that is that I have a co-partner in crime, co-host. Her name is Mel. She is one of my good GDs of life, one of my dearest friends. Her Bookstagram is GingerGonzoReads. Go check it out below. Go follow her. It makes her really, really happy when she gets new followers on there. And yeah, it's sick. It's real sick. She's basically like a kid in a candy store. If she gets a new follower, she's like, oh my God! No, she's not like that at all, but go follow her. She's trying to build her Bookstagram, and she's one of my dear, dear friends, and I love her. I love you, Mel! So anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, so anyway, we recently, we were doing a year of true crime on the book club, but we recently changed it to being an all true crime book club. So we are now completely an all true crime book club going forward. This month, we are reading American Predator. Here, let me see if I can see who it's by. Maureen Callahan is who it's by. And, you know, I don't think I've done a book video about the book club of the book of the month recently. Like, I haven't done it in a while. So I thought, well, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Why, you might ask yourself? Well, I'll tell you why. Because last night, while I was waiting for my husband to get home from Chicago, because he picked his mom up, she went to Europe for like 3 weeks. She was all over, she needs to pull in the reins. She was all over the place. She was in Spain, and she was in Portugal, and she was in France, and she all over. So anyway, but she's home. So Alex picked her up at the airport last night in Chicago, and then he had to drive her home. So I was listening to my audiobook waiting for him to get home. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that I got halfway through the book, and I have to tell you that if you don't know, what you don't know is a lot. I'll Be Gone in the Dark is my favorite true crime book of life. I'm obsessed with the case of the Golden State Killer. I loved how that book was done. I loved how Paul Holes ended up writing a follow-up book that is only on Audible, which is called Evil Has a Name. It's fantastic. It's done really, really well. But I have to tell you that a close second to that would be this book. And that is American Predator by Maureen Callahan, and it is about the serial killer Israel Keys. His killing spree went on for 14 years, allegedly, and a lot of it is not confirmed. They don't have confirmation. Supposedly, he had 3 total victims, but then there were 8 that he claimed or whatever. I'm not at that point yet in the book, so I don't know. I'm literally at the halfway mark of the book, a little bit before the halfway mark. I'm looking at it right now. And it is so good. It is so good, you guys. Can you see me at all in this thing? No, you're like, Peter, you're completely in the dark. Well, as I usually am. But anyway, the book starts out, and it is about, okay, the thing that's really interesting is that it takes place a lot about this missing girl in Alaska. Her name is Samantha Koenig. And, so she works in this coffee kiosk. Well, I don't know, like, unless you're from Alaska, that we would really understand a lot. Like, at the beginning of the book, she goes in, the author, and she explains a lot about Alaska, and she explains a lot about Anchorage, which is really, really interesting, because I have to say, in the context of the book, Alaska actually is a character. I mean, the weather, the temperament, the 6 months of darkness, all of these things play into it. And she references James Michener, who wrote a book called Alaska. And she really creates another character with Alaska, the state. And even it being detached from the rest of the, the United States, the other 48, she explains kind of like, I mean, that detachment in itself is part of like a character personality trait. It's really interesting how she does it. And So anyway, it's about this girl, and she works in this coffee kiosk, which is apparently like this little like shed that is like out in the middle of like a parking lot, and you can go up there and get your coffee, and they're open like really late at night or something like that. I don't know. I don't really get it. But anyway, so she goes missing from this coffee. It's called Common Coffee, I think is what it's called. And she goes missing, and her dad and her boyfriend don't know where she's at. And one of the things that I love about this book is that often in books, true crime books, they always paint, or they seem to paint the victim as being like this perfect specimen, and they don't do that in this book. She paints Samantha as being very popular in school, but also very nice to the other students. But she also says that she has like a history of drugs. There's a lot of speculation about her past and things like that. So she's not necessarily the cleanest like person in the entire world as far as like her history and things like that. But what I love about it is she still humanizes her, and she still is like, okay, but that doesn't make it anything right that happens to her. Like, just because she dabbled in drugs, just because of this, just because of that, doesn't mean any person deserves that. And you can really read that through the book, and it's fantastic. She really humanizes Samantha Koenig, as well as like her boyfriend and her dad, who are a little bit oddballs themselves when you read it, and they're suspects for a lot of the book. But anyway, this Israel Keyes, who I had never heard of before, who is apparently one of the most prolific serial killers we've ever had in the United States, is so creepy, you guys. And I don't want to get into too much of it because I don't want to ruin it, but like, you literally find detail after detail of what happened in this book. It is so crazy. And I have to tell you, I was terrified last night to get out of my house, or to get out of my car and go inside. I mean, it was that scary of a book. It is really that good. And on Audible, it is 9 hours, and 3 minutes. So not super long, but it's a longer book. And like I said, I'm already halfway through it. One of the things that was really, really interesting to me about it, you know, whenever I read a true crime book, I always am like, okay, are the facts interesting, or is it just are they just spitting out facts? Do they mix it? Is there any literary writing to this? The literary writing is amazing. I mean, her prose is fantastic in this book. It's beautifully written, okay? Beautifully, beautifully written. Is the respect for the victim and their families, and there definitely is, but respect in a way while still being honest about what's going on, and I feel that she does that. And then, is the portrayal of the investigation interesting? And I have to say, for me, it really, really is. Now, when you read the beginning of it, it says something about she didn't take creative liberty with what was said to her through like she did a lot of interviews with the investigators that were on the case. The investigators themselves are very, very interesting. There is this, so it's really kind of like this game that's being played between the Anchorage Police Department, and it's also important to know this, and I knew this before I started the book, so it won't ruin it for you, that Israel Keyes killed people across the country. It wasn't just in Alaska. So this becomes a federal issue with the FBI being involved in the game. Texas Rangers are even in this, and there's this whole thing about this Texas Ranger Rayburn in there that's very, very interesting, and she goes in and she describes the history of the Texas Rangers and what they are and how he became a Texas Ranger, which I didn't know anything about. It's very interesting, and that even like, and it takes place in 2012, so this is not like a dated book. And the capture of him, which happens, like, I would say within like the first hour or two by a Texas Ranger, is so interesting, you guys, and how they get him in this hotel. I mean, it's really like watching a movie, but it's this collaborative effort between the Alaska Police Department and this investigator on the team, and she's like this Barbie doll, very glamorous looking police investigator, but with the investigative skills of like Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs. She even references that in the book. And then there's this FBI agent, his name is Payne, and then there's the Texas Ranger, and then there's this other FBI agent from Texas, and she becomes the co-investigator on the case with Payne. And then there is the prosecutor, and he's a total ass. And she doesn't by any means mute that she thinks that he's an ass. I mean, he just is, and he tries to take over the case, and he almost ruins the case, and he may ruin the case, because that's kind of where I'm at right now, is when they're doing hold on a second, I need a little bit of my chappy. That's where they're at in the book right now, is when they are discussing, or they're doing the primary investigation, and he's so manipulative that he only tells him half the story, and then he's like, I'll tell the rest of it, but it has to be by this female police investigator because he likes her. And that's where she references the Silence of the Lambs thing. You guys, it is so well done. You know, and one of the things I'm learning about a true crime book is that, I guess before, you know, I would read like these true crime books that were just kind of like factual tellings of what happened, and I love that. But, you know, I think what's happening as, you know, in 2018 and 2019, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of these kind of true crime literary books being written, where they're not just a telling of the crime that happened, but it's actually like more of a literary novel as well, like where the background of the, not as a novel, but the background of these people and their town and everything. It's, you know, reminiscent to me of, well, this one is interesting because it reminds me of several fiction books that I've read when I'm reading it, when they're describing the landscape and all this kind of stuff, which you have to understand the landscape of Alaska, because then later he goes in and he explains what happened and how it happened and all this kind of stuff. Fear is such a character in this book, Fear itself, and it's just so fantastically well done. I'm so excited that we picked this book for this month. I have to say, next to I'll Be Gone in the Dark, this is my second closest favorite, and the only thing that makes it kind of not super, the only thing that's not interesting to me about it, and this doesn't demean the book at all, or diminish the book at all, is that I already know what happens to him at the end, and he's no longer, he takes his life. So you find that, if you want to read the Wikipedia page, you'll find that. I haven't found that out in the book yet, but I looked it up on the Wikipedia page. So anyway, it's not like he's out there somewhere and we don't know where he is. With the Zodiac Killer, that was scary. With I'll Be Gone in the Dark, he had literally just been captured. So it was very interesting to me when I was reading that at that time. But this case has been solved. And so to some degree, it's more about the police investigation, what is botched in the police investigation, and what they find out through it all. It's very interesting. One of the things that's interesting to me is that he goes to great lengths to, I mean, they even, the FBI agent is even like, I mean, he's kind of this evil genius. Like, he really, not the FBI agent, the killer, Israel Keys. Like, he's kind of this evil genius in that he knows what he's doing and he's done it for a long time. And the FBI agent even says that, to then, like, just come out and basically brag about all this stuff that he's done. It's like, you literally, there's all this lead up, and then like in 20 minutes you find out like everything that you've been wondering about in the book. So that's interesting. I'm wondering where the book's gonna go from here. But I have to say right now, I would give this book a 5 out of 5. I mean, it is that good. I'm that intrigued. I literally listened to half of it last night. So, yeah. You should go check it out, participate in Peter's Book Club, which if you have any suggestions for what our new title of our book club should be, put it in the comment section below. We're going to probably run some kind of contest or giveaway or something like that and come up with a name for our book club. So we may do that at some point. Put it below if you have any suggestions though. And the live book club discussion will be the last Sunday this month. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's like the 30th or something like that. I don't know. And, what else? Oh yeah, and the extra credit book for this summer is Helter Skelter. So I am also listening to that on Audible in between the other books that I'm listening to. So if you would like to participate that as well, you can do that. And I don't think we've picked the book for September yet. I'm not sure, have we? No, we haven't. We usually pick it, and we will be announcing that by the 15th. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little discussion. If you're not participating in this month's book club book or not already, you should. It is really that good. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.